So apparently, Donald Trump made a decision that he is going to, I guess, boost. It says controversial herbicide glyphosate. And this chemical is problematic. And some people are really screaming about this. Glyphosate in the past has been known to cause cancer, right? So I did a couple of videos recently talking about what are they putting in our food. People are asking, why would Trump want to allow this to go through, especially considering he has MAHA, which is Make America Healthy Again. And where does RFK Jr. fit in all of this? Let's go ahead and get into it, ladies and gents. People are really freaking out about this one, and rightfully so.
When RFK Jr. joined forces with President Trump in 2024, he brought with him a voting bloc of mothers who wanted dangerous chemicals out of their kids' food. But now the MAGA and MAHA movements are clashing over the herbicide glyphosate, the most widely used weed killer in U.S. agriculture. Before the 2024 election, RFK Jr. tweeted that glyphosate was one of the likely culprits in America's chronic disease epidemic. So it came as a surprise to many when the president signed an executive order on Wednesday providing immunity for producers of glyphosate-based herbicides, which may have been linked to cancer in some studies.
So this is a big deal. One thing I want you to think about, if you're using a chemical that kills weeds, right? If you guys have ever done gardening before, or if you've tried to pull weeds out the ground, they're tough to pull out, right? So if it kills weeds, what do you think it would do to you? If it's ingested inside of your body, what would that do to your organs? Just one way to look at it, right? So this is where we're at now, that Donald Trump wants this to go through. Let's continue on.
The administration says the shift in policy over the weed killer was due to its necessity for national security and defense. But the MAHA moms don't agree. Zen Honeycutt, the founder of Moms Across America, tweeted her disgust with the move, saying, "Literally sick to my stomach. It's going to kill and sterilize countless American people." With these competing visions, greatness versus health, which one will prevail? Another prominent activist behind the movement is Kelly Ryerson, co-executive director of American Regeneration, and she joins me now. Kelly, thank you so much for being here. So for those of us who are not familiar with what glyphosate is, why do you say it's dangerous to our health?
Yeah, glyphosate is the most used pesticide of all time. It is the most widely used pesticide in this country. We have farmers using it across the country. The problem is that it's so widely used and has been sold as being non-toxic and safe, has been repeatedly reapproved for use, but is in actuality tied to a number of different diseases, including infertility. It's connected to liver disease, kidney disease. It attacks the microbiome. It kills the beneficial gut bacteria. Really, all of these different conditions that now you're seeing on massive population scale. It's a chemical that you will find in your urine, your breast milk, your hair. It's been shown to show up in semen. It's been shown to kill sperm. And we have this fertility crisis in this country. There's so many problems with this particular chemical, and that's why it became a banner chemical for MAHA.
So one of the things I did not know about was the infertility issue with this chemical. You know, and remember what I was telling you guys, like people saying that, why do we have an increase? Why does it seem like more people have cancer now? Why does it seem like, more people, especially younger people, are getting diagnosed with these types of illnesses? And I always point back to the food, because the one thing that we're all ingesting in some way is the food. And it's just a matter of, do you have the money and the resources to get food that is quote unquote technically all organic, which I push back on that all organic thing sometimes. I don't think all those things are 100% organic. But if you don't have the money to do that, then obviously, like, you're going to have to buy groceries that you can afford to buy. And not everybody can afford to shop at Whole Foods. And not everybody can afford to just get organic foods. So this is something that is poisoning your food. Let's continue on.
So Kelly, this executive order was put in under the Defense Production Act. The president's executive order argues that there's no direct one-for-one chemical alternative to glyphosate-based herbicides, and that major restrictions of glyphosate would result in economic losses for growers and make it untenable for them to grow food. So this EO is essentially arguing that they're trying to prevent a crisis in terms of growing food, especially for small-scale farmers. But you're talking about another crisis, which is one of disease and health. So how do these two things reconcile?
Yeah, it's complicated because it is true that right now our farming system at large is dependent on glyphosate. The system has been built around supporting these chemicals in a chemical agriculture system. And so that is something that the country needs to be moving away from by supporting regenerative agriculture practices to be able to decrease the use of these pesticides. That's
Pause. If anyone is watching and if you're a farmer or you grew up on a farm, what did you use? Because you mean to tell me going all the way back to like the 40s, 50s, 60s, like people were always using, like, I don't think they were. So is the issue increasing production? Is the issue you want to increase production rapidly? Or is it just like, I don't understand why these chemicals were used in the first place. And that's another thing. If you look at like my parents, like the boomers, my parents are boomers. If you look at like the boomer generation, the silent generation, right? Notice how like when they talk about when they were growing up, it seems like they had healthier food. It seems like they didn't have to worry about all these chemicals in their food. So it just makes me wonder. So if you're one of those people, let me know, what did you use on the farm?
something that Secretary Brooke Rollins has started to do with her $700 million investment into regenerative agriculture recently. But what's really missing here, and I think what's so enraging about this executive order, is it's not for now. For national security, we need to preserve this supply so that we're not supplying from China. But in the meantime, we're going to be investing in all of these other things to make sure that farmers can get off this chemical treadmill and we can decrease the toxicity of our food supply. That's just not something that's happening. The other thing that's really important to note is that the timing of this is very, very suspicious because right now Bayer, which manufactures glyphosate, is working really hard to get immunity from lawsuits so that we can't sue when we get sick from exposure. They're trying to pass these bills in the state level and the federal level. The president went and backed Bayer's bid to go to SCOTUS and have a lawsuit that if Bayer wins, we will no longer be able to sue any pesticide manufacturer when we get sick from exposure. That's 57,000 different pesticides. And now he's come in with this the same week that Bayer has claimed that there'll be a settlement of some kind for all cancer victims of this carcinogen. And the problem with that settlement is that all cases going forward, they will still be having to pay out because they're not stopping the sale of glyphosate. So instead, he's put this immunity to just put a cap on it, just like they did with Agent Orange.
So do you see the domino effect here? The pesticides on the plants, you're eating the vegetables, people getting sick because of these chemicals that are used. And then this goes to the health system, which is where, depending on what type of healthcare, health insurance that you have, could determine how this is going to work out for you, right? So this whole thing, like now they're even trying to make it so that if you get some type of disease because of that pesticide, then you can't even sue. So once again, this is Donald Trump looking out for big money, big corporation, Wall Street, looking out for their interests, not for the working class. And then when it comes to the health insurance issue, if you don't have health insurance, good luck with that one. Or if you have inadequate health insurance, again, good luck with that one. Cancer is expensive. So it's a domino effect. Now that brings up this issue with RFK Jr. Because let me pull this up here. Mr. Care about all the health and the people and save the people. RFK Jr. is backing Donald Trump's decision here. Not the guy who cared about the food and the health of the kids. Kennedy defends Trump's glyphosate order. Maha erupts as midterms approach. So RFK Jr., who's been kind of quiet since he, joined the Trump administration, he is signing on for this. This is the guy who went around the country when he was running for president. He was screaming about the chemicals in our food. He was screaming about making people healthy. Do you think RFK Jr. is going to have to worry about these kind of chemicals in his food? No, he's got money to buy organic shit. So this is the same guy who said, we can't trust these chemicals. We can't trust all that in our food. Once he became a part of the administration, he's going along with it anyway. So there's some outrage against him as well. RFK Jr. defended President Trump's executive order sparing the domestic production of the weed killer glyphosate. Again, his Make America Healthy Again movement reels from the president's embrace of the chemical they despise. Trump on Wednesday night signed that executive order. Goes on to say glyphosate is the chemical in Bayer Monsanto's Roundup and is the most commonly used herbicide for a slew of U.S. crops. Kennedy backed the president in a statement on CNBC Thursday morning. Donald Trump's EO puts America first where it matters most, our defense readiness and our food supply. Everybody see this? Defense. Ding, 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 ding. We must safeguard America's national security first because all of our priorities depend on it. When hostile actors control critical inputs, they weaken our security. By expanding domestic production, we close that gap and protect American families. So pay attention to what he just said. According to RFK Jr., the health nut guy, we have to focus on defense first. Damn a health bill. Damn the chemicals in your food. We have to focus on defense first. Nobody is attacking the United States, but the United States is attacking a hell of a lot of people around the world. It goes on to say here, but Kennedy's Maha coalition that supported Trump in 2024, which has been alleged to cause cancer. They talk about glyphosate here. Now the executive order threatens to unravel that coalition ahead of a 2026 midterm election that could loosen the president's grip on Washington. Just as the large Maha base begins to consider what to do at the midterms, the president issues an EO to expand domestic glyphosate production. That was from Glyphosate Girl, the very same carcinogen that Maha cares about the most. So you can't make this up, guys. Obviously, this is not something that is good for the American people. And I just want to show you this too. So RFK Jr. was on a podcast. It's Mark Hyman's podcast, Dr. Mark Hyman. He was on this podcast 5 years ago, the Dr. Hyman Show. And guess what they talked about? The harmful effects of glyphosate, the most common agrochemical. So, listen, I tried to warn people about RFK Jr. because, listen, I saw him in person. He did his announcement here in Boston. I covered his announcement in person on the ground. And I've been trying to, people got mad at me. But I said, I don't think this guy is legit. And here we are. Along with his cringe Israel support. Now he doesn't even want to be. So first it's he doesn't stand against genocide. And now he doesn't even want you to be healthy. What good is this guy? Crazy things, ladies and gents. Here was a test study that was done with a loaf of bread. Again, this is from that Maha coalition. Watch this. I'm again just showing you the food.
I have here something that we all need to look out for. This is a loaf of bread from Aldi that was purchased over 2.5 years ago. And it's been in this office as an experiment. You can use it like an accordion, smash it up. And even Eric can attest that this bread has been in here for over 2 years. And look at this. Let's get a close-up of this. No mold. It smells fine. You can smash it down and it will come right back up. Again, this bread has been in this office for over 2 years. What the hell is in our food? We're going to come and find out. We're going to work on legislation to provide information on what we are putting in our bodies.
That's not normal, guys. That's not normal. I'm not a big bread person anyway, but that's not cool. And it's not just Aldi. It's all the grocery stores, unless you can afford, I guess, to shop at Whole Foods. And I mean, I question some of their stuff too. So people are pointing fingers at Trump, which rightfully they should, but you also need to point fingers at RFK Jr. because he's going along with this. You know? Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.